coming into this tournament, but they needed to lay it on the line with the favorites for the event. sAw on the defense, jumping into Inferno.
Going to be keeping an eye out on Inz all throughout the game. He obviously had a fantastic start to the tournament. Unsustainable, but listen, if he can even do half of that, then you've got a chance. It's a BO1, never forget. And on Inferno, no less.
Yeah, FlyQuest grouping themselves up in this pistol as well. It'll be a hard and just cold call here from sAw, but they've got their stack in the right place.
Starts off worse, though. It's Vexite to get the first. Aras Dosh responds. Good for one. Can he make it three? No. Only the two, and he'll settle for it. In the meanwhile, rotation's being called in. Roman will be late, and Muris doesn't want to let that happen. Trying to buy time, but he's only bought death. And Inz and Alistair are the ones selling it.
Yeah, timing working great there for the FlyQuest guys. They just got themselves in position, ready to burst into the A bomb site, and then they find this opening first kill into brackets, and they're just able to scale with that so effectively. Roman now in this 1 versus 3 where it'll be incredibly taxing. Even if there was a kit available, it would just be so far detached from the action. And now that they've spotted him, Alistair will start hot like he did earlier against BetBoom. This is the man that has the most scrutiny about him. Not the man on screen, but Alistair as this individual AWPer for FlyQuest. You know, we've looked at Dexter as the in-game leader, the implementation of him, and he was supposed to raise the bar for the Aussie scene. But now we have another team that's waiting in the wings. We have Talon within that region that are hot on their heels. They'll have opportunities at the RMR as well to demonstrate whether or not they're as good or even better than FlyQuest are currently. And they know that there are going to be many teams like sAw or better that they're going to have to beat. And
this is your best chance to try and make a mark, right? You beat sAw out over here in the best of 1. You're through to the semifinals. You don't have to play them again, theoretically, till the grand finals. This is where you want to capitalize. And it might be up against these Deagles where if you clean these out comfortably, start off in that 3-0, we know how important that can be. Now, they get control over Banana, but FlyQuest will be receding for now. This is one of the things that we did see a lot in Pro League, actually. FlyQuest takes their time, but sometimes they take too much of it.
Yeah, and I think that's them trying to adapt to their philosophy and maybe as well rein players back so that they're not always on extremities by themselves. They're getting isolated by investigative peaks. They have changed their style quite a lot outside of their even just domestic competition, and it does transfer quite well.
One of the things I always love about sAw is that they go for these stacks on these 4 spies as well. This time stack doesn't really work out, but Udrix still good for the 1. Traded away oh so swiftly. And the rest of sAw might as well look to save at this point. There isn't really that much utility available for FlyQuest either, actually, so maybe you want to stick around, see if you can get a Deagle shot or two, but they decide against it.
Yeah, I mean, may as well just treat this round similarly to how their start against Rooster went, where, okay, we picked the wrong side, our stack doesn't work out, and you've got weapons that can do some damage into the following. Can't exactly critique the philosophy, especially on a map like Inferno. You know, I think when we see into that second half as well, there's going to be a lot at stake and a lot of scrutiny maybe levied to, I think, the anchors of FlyQuest. I think their CT side is going to be more taxing because sAw has actually been a team that I think many will see and look on, like, I think even Alan mentioned it earlier that this team passes the eye test. And it's on those T sides that they can actually be the most fearsome. Even if you get opening advantages, they're very good at immediately springing for gaps.
But that's the thing. sAw is a classic national team, right? You're not necessarily looking at all of these players and saying, oh my God, this is, you know, like this prodigal CIS talent type of player. As far as individual skill is concerned, I would even argue that man for man, sAw might be less mechanically skilled than a team like BB Team.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, and FlyQuest are fragging out versus them too. Now, obviously, sAw's got a lot more structure. They've got a lot better rotations. They have much better communication. It's a huge difference.
I would fight back in that Udrix and Arozdosh can sometimes take over games.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah. You know, you're looking at players like Zorte and everything, right? It's a conversation. And when there is that equivalent, there's maybe hope, right? You know, FlyQuest can at least have the idea that if we lose, it will be off of our structure. It will not be because we got out-clicked.
Yeah. And at the moment, they're doing a pretty bang-up job, but even the flash play here from sAw with the limited investment that they had from that previous round, unable to get an opening. I think as well, you know, so funny to hear from Liaz and just say, yeah, listen, we've played Arozdosh before and it did not go great for us. Maybe looking for a little bit of revenge, but that was also 2 years ago. You can't hold a grudge forever. But there's a Rosdosh, that man that we just mentioned. He finds a kill over towards A. It's going to accelerate the progress over to B. And with only a USP at the back of this bomb site, it's difficult. And there's a dink there from UJerks, but FlyQuest break into B, no problem.
Thing is, that event, I mean, we just looked that one up on initial TV as well. It was 2 years ago, Michael. You were working in that event. Maybe you are just an omen for the... You know, whatever will happen over there. I'm not going to say the words. He can say the words. I can't.
What? So you're I mean, if I was some kind of talisman for Rosdosh, I would take that. And, you know, someone to advocate.
Yeah.
For me, I guess more.
The Sweet Rise has gone bad right now, though, and it's okay. Next round's where things really get started. sAw is going to be looking into that one. If Story can pick up a kill over here, it's nice. You get a bit more util with the AWP, but no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Honestly, even if you save, it's the same thing because it's $600 for the Kevlar or the kill, so it really doesn't matter.
I think what's most impressive about this FlyQuest team right now, though, is, you know, we look at this Inns character on the squad, you know, from in-game leading to then taking star roles, and even through all the turmoil and turbulence this team has had.
I think he's the best Australian player in the world.
I mean, he plays like it very frequently, even in the losses. So... yeah, I have a lot of hope that this FlyQuest team can actually sort of get it together towards the end of this year. But it will be demonstrated by wins and reference points in other tournaments, and tournaments like this, where sAw have expectations of lifting a trophy, FlyQuest are looking to deny as best they can.
Oh, nades to the feet of Roman. He is feeling a little bit loose-headed.
Yeah, not exactly a comfortable start. So some nice opening volley of utility here from FlyQuest. They're making no urgency of going over towards that B bomb site, but Story in the meanwhile has caught just the glimpse of Vexite, I guess improperly peeking out from Boiler. Of course, it's an off angle there from Story, and even if there is a player there, you're maybe hoping it's a rifle where you wouldn't have just died instantly, but an opening advantage found by the Portuguese.
The question is, does Liaz want to try again? But UJerks turned around. They're not looking at him. They're trying to clear out first oranges, and UJerks takes full advantage of it. That is disaster right there. FlyQuest. I don't know if that's a read that they have. I don't know if that's an expectation for them to come in with. But the thing is, even if there was going to be a player there, when Roman's been double-naded off early on as well, they don't know that worked. But I guess it just doesn't work for them in that way.
Yeah, and it's also just the timing of having these two smokes down, one CT, one at the mouth of B, where traveling through it is a risk. But, you know, they wanted to try and beat that timing somehow, especially with the opening kill that Story got on that A bomb site. They lost tabs on it for a moment. Liaz was still nearby, but he couldn't guarantee that they hadn't cleared mid, for example. So a lot of justified decisions there from FlyQuest, but as much as you can justify it, they cannot pull the round together. Now that sAw on rifles, they will be a much more difficult beast to tame.
Arizdosh should end up going down over here, but Vexite will need that adjustment. Will Arizdosh
clear.
Continue forward? Story should be finding this first kill, and that's when Vexite wants to make a move, spots out the shoulder, but loses the duel. Arizdosh takes it away.
Yeah, I mean, a beautiful setup there for sAw. Just picking apart those two Apps players, and now FlyQuest are left with questions to answer. Dexter just wandering the smoke, and he actually managed to dodge the AWP of Story, but second time over, Story will rectify his mistake.
Come on, Inns, you've only got 4 players to kill.
Yeah, bombs nearby too.
It's true. But unfortunately, UJerks is one of them. Nicely done from sAw. Again, these small little setups are what characterizes them so effectively as a fun national team to keep an eye out for. This is obviously one of the things for sAw where they are not ridiculous grinders, right? They're not playing every single online cup and whatnot. And you can actually see it in their gameplay. You can see these small little setups that they've got in mind. They have a lot more of that than maybe every other national team might. You compare them to something like, you know, for example, a Bait, another national team but they're the grinders, right? So I expect this more from sAw than compared to a team like B8. So it's just a fun little thing to see it work out when they're going in towards the top level, where normally speaking, the underdog is the one pulling out, oh, hey, let's try these little two-man setups. Let's try this, let's try that. But how demeaning is, not demeaning, how defeated do you feel? It's like, oh my God, they've got set strats for us.
I think as well, you know, sAw will have had expectations from even just the start of this year. I mean, what they did well at Blast, and they made it through the group, only for them to really struggle at the following events. And then, you know, start of this season, Cologne, they get to the semifinals. So, you know, I guess the question for sAw is the longevity of how much energy they bring to these games, and actually stepping away from a tournament or two, will benefit. That's a great HE to blow the smoke. Fantastic assist there from UJerks. Roman just positioned perfectly for it, and FlyQuest call it quits from this B probe. Only bringing in that one rifle. It's... yeah, this will be challenging to crack into, but hell, FlyQuest did a bit of it against the BB earlier on. They made a hero rifle work, but Dust 2, I think, maybe simpler to get that accomplished. Especially with no util.
Oh, no.
All right, Liaz, your turn. And he has greater success in dodging the AWP. But there is no ego on these challenges. There is no lingering pressure there from sAw. Once they know that they've lost the advantage on the angle, they let Liaz have that space. Some nice taps. Again, baiting out this AWP of Story, but Muteris, the high ground on the boxes on site. sAw will find their way to a tie scoreline after losing the opening 3 rounds.
And I'm glad that you're bringing up the fact that sAw's obviously had some of their fortunes turned, despite the fact that they've always been a team to find sporadic success.
Yeah.
But it does feel like now that they've gone away from that Portuguese coaching system and gone into more of like, okay, we just need something new, right? Yeah. Barry's come in and he looks like he's completely changed this team around. In terms of the numbers, there's so many interesting stats that, you know what, I'm going to try and pepper across the entire tournament. I'm not using them all on this first BO1, but hey, it's just really cool to see this team now come through with a revised vision, considering how long they've been together. But now, Roman starts off with some spam. He's been taking a lot of early damage many times over. UJerks, however, has avoided the grenade.
Another slow builder here from FlyQuest. This is a team that can, at times, maybe get carried away when they do find openings, but, you know, as of late, they have reined it in quite significantly. Yep, that's sAw.
It is. And it's Inferno. Don't forget that.
And our lovely partners at Monster.
Hey, they really are lovely. Dexter wants to be a monster himself, but trading the smoke, he faces true death. It's UJerks to deliver. UJerks looking for more. It's a bit sloppy, but it doesn't matter. Vexlight will trade. There's still Molotovs, there's still utility, and most of all, there's still the AWP of Story to go through. Alistair taken down, and Roman has added another to the tally.
Yeah.
Liaz feels lonely.
They really were expecting that, you know, as soon as UJerks goes down, that they would have a little bit of a gap, only have to deal with Roman, but the fact that Story is there on time just to relinquish any sort of a prospect of FlyQuest getting past this smoke. Very timely rotation. sAw are making few mistakes so far on this CT half. Now that they have guns in their possession, they are building money quite comfortably. And FlyQuest, to be honest, with how slow a lot of the pace has been, I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see them maybe speed things up a little bit.
You'd hope so, at the very least. Maybe a timeout to come through and see if there's anything of that nature to be called. Still, it's going to be a bit of a half-five/eco around over here, so maybe not the best place to call it. You will need it soon, though. If sAw continue their winning ways like this, FlyQuest are going to run out of their very short leash. A little bit too fast.
Yeah, and it's not like this idea actually couldn't have worked for FlyQuest. I mean, with UJerks playing that close wall, had he not deleted that first player, you know, we saw how long his spray was to get a second. There was a real fighting chance for FlyQuest had they maybe just gotten their timing right and a suitable flash to take UJerks off that position.
But that does feel like it's been the case for a couple of these rounds, right? FlyQuest come through with a game plan that feels like, hey, I understand where it's coming from. It kind of makes sense. I could see it working as well. But then you lose maybe one too many players. You've lost an aim deal. You don't pick up UJerks when he's gone for that sloppier spray. It's these small mistakes that are going to add up. FlyQuest right now would really love to do some damage, but Story has again and again been, like you said, Michael, without ego, but he really deserves to have one. I know it's just against pistols, but man, he is looking good.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, he is feeling confident. A very hot start. As soon as he's had that AWP in his possession, he has found picks consistently. Whether that's been to rectify some lost ground or just to take matters into his own hands, deny space for FlyQuest.
And the thing is, even when you look over towards sAw's players, I mean, in Muteris and Roman, who would be considered, hey, these guys aren't your heavy hitters and whatnot, when sAw starts to get into the flow state, they will make moves. They will play like they've got, quote-unquote, better aim than they do, but because sometimes they just start to pop off. Roman can get out those clutches, Muteris gets out those mid-round plays, and this is the worst possible way to get sAw started on a tournament if you're going to be going up against them. Everyone already knew they're the favorites, but You're hoping that Muterus and Roman won't get a chance to heat up either, and honestly, Roman's been looking fantastic.
Yeah, funnily enough, I actually think that's where Barry's acquisition makes the most sense, is that, you know, when they do get heated and they do start to see that momentum building, they can often get carried away, but they rein it in at the right times now. So aggressive down middle, and with Muterus going down so quickly, Arostos does well to find a trade, but they are losing life so quickly. This is another new idea implemented by sAw, but it has not worked out.
Aggression like that is exactly what FlyQuest had been waiting for. These slower paced rounds is what's set up for just waiting to see what sAw wants to get going, right? So many of these situations, it's just early grenades out towards Banana and then not contesting for control. Late flashes through after the first note's already expired. Great shot from Dexter to end things as well. And this is what FlyQuest has been waiting for. Now, it doesn't come at a time where they could have reset sAw's economy, right? sAw has been saving every single one of their players pretty much for the past few rounds, so you will have a hard time running into it. But this is the start that you wanted to, you know, kind of kickstart the engine again.
And this is exactly the type of decision that I'm kind of expecting, or exactly what I was talking about just that round ago. They call a timeout as soon as they go for this more aggressive line, where, you know, Barry will offer his 2 cents, maybe dial them back a bit. You know, the things that they've been doing on the CT side so far have been working splendidly. You know, allow Story the time to get that ult pick, and FlyQuest are going to be left with very few answers when it comes to a lot of these mid-round decisions. No in-game leader wants to operate always being in a 4 versus 5. But they take that moment. FlyQuest may be the biggest team in Australia, but I shudder to think that they could be dismantled by sAw after this 3-0 start. This one round where they're able to dispel that aggression, get out a bit more stride to their step.
It might be Leaz to try and make the play back towards apartments. He's gotten in very quickly. There's been no contest from sAw this time over. Outside of that 1-2-man push, apartments has been free real estate for FlyQuest. Whether they can do anything with that real estate is a different matter altogether. FlyQuest will maintain slower pace. They will not be speeding up and accelerating. And with the Alistar all being prioritized, of course, you understand that, right? You want to give him time to make a pick happen. You want to give him time to work these angles, but you also let Story do the same. And he's found the shot, might not have found the kill, but it's already somewhat incapacitated. On paper, your best player. He's also revealed position, though, so Archers could be a focus. Vextide tries to poke and prod into short, but Muterus is the one who's manning the helm out long. That's where the duel might come through. But Alistar is just waiting for the re-peek, waiting for Muterus to try and go for information. It seems inevitable, but it will come through with a flashbang. Alistar gets that first kill, and now it's time to see what Arostos has in mind. The Archer's play coming forward. Ujux pushing in. Leaz is trying to defend. Vextide gets the one in the sight. Ujux is all alone. A flash forward and trying to take the fight to them before they can push through. Dexter will punish.
That is fantastic patience, especially from Alistar in that moment. So many grenades thrown over towards short, a Molotov first and a flash. You know, from if you're flying blind on the side of FlyQuest, you could fully have anticipated that they may be trying to retake brackets and aggress through short. And by Alistar holding onto that position, sAw were really trying to play this mind game where they maybe expected FlyQuest to have all attentions raised to short specifically. And Muterus wanting to get that probe, get a shot in the back of the head and then fall back. It's that first domino to fall. So by FlyQuest playing it patient, not biting down so heavily on that micro fake that sAw throw their way, they pick apart that A defense.
And it's even more fun because when you consider how long it took, Alistar might have even been expecting Story to have rotated back to Archers because that's been the play he's been going for. And Story's having a great game, so if Alistar is feeling confident enough to say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to challenge him directly in a head-to-head where he's speaking into me, that's exactly what you want to see from the man who's been having so much scrutiny on his shoulders.
Yeah. I think the focus from Alistar already at the start of this tournament is looking quite lethal. Yeah. I mean, if this is the type of way he's going to play consistently throughout, and, you know, hopefully we have many more rounds of FlyQuest gameplay. Yeah, this team can, I think, just increases its lethality so much so. Once again, a passive approach here from sAw. After that timeout, they have slowed things down considerably, but FlyQuest are starting to accelerate their own progress. Doubling up inside of Boiler, they group up inside of that smoke inside of mid as well. But with that Molotov, that's down. Story funneled back. He's not done.
He's trying to re-peek back in. The flashbang, though, forces him away. He's shift walking. Vexite punishes. Spots out the second as well. And Arisdosha's head is on the floor. Maybe more to join it right there. Vexite as Muterus in it as well. It's a nice collection of trophies, and sAw need to save. They do not have the money to buy in the next round, but is that going to be the call? Ujerks reveals position. Vexite not done with his initial entries. He wants 4.
Took so much room. He'll hear the retreat of Ujerks as well. And just like that, they know that this round is completely done. Just about how much damage extra that they can do to that economy of sAw. Like you said, they do not have the reserves available. But what a fantastic move. After the Molotov, maybe even anticipating that re-aggression in from Story, the flash was perfect. And Story tried to call their bluff. You know, he didn't think that that flash meant anything. It was just simply to take that bracket's control. But Vexite, fantastic pathing and fantastic shooting.
Especially with the timing being where it was in FlyQuest, this is the first time they've gone on a faster note, right?
Absolutely.
They've been so slow. Their first contact, when they've been taking it themselves, has been coming in around that 35, 38 second mark. This was far before that, so like you said, he tries to call their bluff, but sometimes they hold all aces.
And considering the amount of respect that they were giving in some of those earlier duels where they knew they'd lost the advantage or they'd been taken off the angle from Story himself, given the success he had earlier on, maybe feeling like he could go for that peak, but so good to see FlyQuest adapt around a player that could have been a massive problem in that round.
And as much as Story's been fantastic, now he's without the AWP. Ujerks, though, is happy to come through and pick up the mantle. Finds ins early on again, that aggression attempt, but this time it's in the very beginning of the round. Dexter, however, will find more success and maybe more to it. Roman trying to trade, but a flash from Alistair that was preempted will find his head. You still have Muterus locked out into the bomb site, but FlyQuest are now more than comfortable to slow things down. Remember, Liaz is the hidden agent, but when will he wake up?
Muterus, that's a good kill. Dexter, that man that's probing, and Alistair does find that trade on the bomb site, but with these smokes that are down, Story playing around the edge of it. The nade, he had to get away from it, and the spam from Alistair is right on point. A one-on-one now presented for this AWPer. And he's going to take... Oh, he thought about it. He was going to take that risk, but something or someone called him back. Now a full-on clutch where Arisdosha approaches through that smoke, and there's another one that Alistair can actually use to segment angles. He has gotten so much information, he has time to reposition all the same.
He also has a Molotov and a grenade. Now listen, the grenade might not be the most useful, but he's got the scope out. Turns away. He's worried about a smoke push to come true, but Arisdosha caught with utility in his hand.
The molly missed.
The AWP makes the molly miss, and now Alistair might be missing shots, but he knows it's all about the time, and Arisdosha doesn't have it. Molly on the ground. Tech9 in his hands. Alistair will be down, but will they have time? It'll be right at the nick. The Molotov's been missed from both sides. It's 6-6. sAw will be even, but will that remain true in that second half?
after fire. Blow up the storm and see the light, yeah. I told my friends that I could run on water, and they said nobody can. They'll see me flying through the sky, yeah. Play hide and seek behind the clouds. I show my friends that I'm not scared of.
6-6 and a 1v1 to end things off. What more could you want? sAw are being challenged early on into the tournament. Narratives be damned. But will their run be over here by FlyQuest? Let's find out as we head into the pistol round. U-Jerks, one set of utility.
Yeah, they weren't given the safety of playing an Australian team on their best map.
Not this time.
And there were fumbled mollies at the end of that half, but all forgotten now that we're into this T side. And I said FlyQuest may have difficulties when we see them on CT. sAw creeping those apartments, one player just making a bit of presence, Orozdosh firing off these shots and an immediate smoke that greets him. But they're split 3-2 here on the side of FlyQuest. It's not like this A bomb site is as reinforced as sAw would have had in their own pistol.
sAw might be looking to back off over here though, but oh my god, look at that fadeaway shot. Inza is perfection.
Disgusting.
If you can have a player like this come alive on the CT side, all weaknesses will be shored. Orozdosh knows that there's still a player to deal with. Alistair right around the corner, and Inza's cordon them off of archers. Alistair, the sole defender, Liaz is gone, and so is Orozdosh. So advantage maintained and information gained. It's Dexter to now come through in the surprise. Only Roman left. And he's got a lot to do.
Yeah, and immediately sAw tried to get something back as soon as they lost a player inside of middle. Roman going the smoke and actually catching off Dexter. He treated it like a wall, and now Roman left in a clutch. A Roman clutch for sAw. This guy loves to pull these together, and it's another head ripped. Vexite late to make that rotation. They had reinforcements here on the side of FlyQuest, but they rely on these dualies given to that young, emerging player out of the region. But Roman has other suggestions. It's those dualies, though, that catch him. Aim a little too high on the side of Roman, and great patience behind the Molotov. Vexite not deterred.
A little bit humbling, I'm sure. Right, I mean, Dexter turns around, understandable, he's worried about an archer's push because they don't have that covered, and then he doesn't hear anything because obviously they're talking, they're chattering. Man just comes up behind him, dongs him on the head, picks up his USB, kills his teammate, uses his incendiary to cordon off Vexite then. God, that is a scary man in a clutch, that is Roman.
But it was a great start to the pistol for FlyQuest. I mean, they understood as well as soon as they got that pick still to play defensive and not make any sort of rash decisions. Even those B-site players refused to investigate the B-bomb site just in case there was a lurker around. They know sAw like to stop, freeze, and wait for continued aggression when they lose that opening man.
I mean, even Alistair didn't actually drop down from balcony at any point, even despite so much early pressure. But that pressure has taken Dexter early on. Banana a bit more exposed and the fruit looking a little bit more easy to eat. sAw is feeling hungry.
Yeah, and immediately pouncing, but a great set of flashes. Vexite able to capitalize, but there's a gun relinquished to the control of the T's as well as the bomb site itself. They may have come away with that pistol, but they even lose ins round the edge of the smoke. The aggression into Church as well. It's not as though there are many safe havens. FlyQuest off of that one opening pick, and that all just comes down to a Molotov that Dexter has misread in that he thought it would give him actually the safety around that half wall. Instead, sAw just come right back in with this force buy.
It's also, I mean, U-Jerks guns it for Church immediately. Inns was not ready for that at all. And this is the problem with, you know, getting your anti-force buys right. I think it's one of the hardest things to do as a team that isn't playing many officials. Like, you know, when you're looking at FlyQuest, a lot of these gun rounds will look complete to you very often, but anti-force buys, even if you're in scrims, even if you're going up against the best teams in the world, a lot of the time people aren't trying as hard, or maybe they're trying their own specific thing. Maybe they're not necessarily going for full strats. They let things get a bit more buggy because you've got an entire day of scrims. You don't want every single round to be draining you like that, right? So getting anti-force buy experience really only comes from officials to get it effectively, and that is definitely something where FlyQuest falls short on. You can sort of see it. Coming out right there.
And it's not even like what happened in that round was exactly how sAw had planned it. You know, just able to get U-Jerks ahead of the Molotov, and he took a peek, and Dexter's head was right there, so why not click it?
Well, I feel bad for Alistair. He's been taken out immediately. That's a Molotov to do it, but at least Dexter's been able to trade. Unfortunately, MP9s are wielded by both teams, so Aris Dosh is happy to do the same.
That was a great opening util set. Molly straight into HE. Alistair just wanted a quick peek, and instead he doesn't even really get to see anybody.
I think they might have spotted Vex like there, but yeah. FlyQuest is calling over more of a B-side lean. Just want to get something out of these 4-spot weapons, but yeah, if Alistair wasn't able to find the kill over there and distract for Dexter, it becomes a whole lot more difficult still. Flashes out, U-Jerks will be able to fade away, so at very little risk, especially with Vexite eliminated.
Inz is still playing around the edge of that smoke, but it just simply not to be. That's a little unfortunate for FlyQuest. sAw got caught by their own flash trying to enter the B-bomb site. They had one that was actually primed from CT in Inz's possession that was setting up so that Vexite could take a favorable set of duels towards the mouth of B. But simply because there was a team flash, sAw hadn't rounded that corner just yet. Sometimes it is the little things, but...
Serendipity.
Yeah. What happens, happens.
And what isn't happening right now is FlyQuest being able to convert off of that pistol round. You're going to end up looking at them being down realistically 7-9. And then there's the entire conversation of, well, one gun round at 7-11. You basically have 2 more rounds that you can lose in terms of real gun rounds in the game if that ends up being the case. So you better start thinking. And one of the problems is that Alistair's doing pretty well, sure, but we aren't seeing the kind of huge performance from Inz that at this point FlyQuest have come to rely on, and it's not reasonable to rely on it every single time, but then it always feels like FlyQuest might end up with one player who's kind of not aid. He's had his fair share of opportunities in the first half as well, but on the CT side, we're going to see this being magnified more and more. As much as Alistair's had a few good moments with the AWP as well, I can't see him getting the same sort of impact that Story did.
Yeah, and to be fair, Liaz was having a rough go of things from the apartments, either meeting the AWP of Story or just ending up in this like awkward fighting on the edge of corners, spam battles. You know, even though he had chances, they weren't always the, you know, they weren't ripe for the picking, so to speak. Yeah, definitely some challenges ahead here for FlyQuest. They were able to salvage together, I mean, three gun rounds on that T side, and sure it was a little sporadic, and there was always chances, I think, for sAw to come back into those rounds, but they were very quickly dispelled by either players like Vexite or Alistair in the way that they were playing, either aggressive or with that Alistair patience. But are we going to see that, you know, gravitas, the bravery of Alistair that I think FlyQuest have come to, I guess, stylistically revolve around in a certain degree? You know, I personally, you know, watching FlyQuest as they've developed, Alistair at times maybe needed to stop being so aggressive, and maybe they've had conversations about that. But he is a guy that, you know, when they go domestic and, you know, when they're fighting other teams within the region, he can get away with plays like that. And, you know, you almost want to have that same level of confidence that, oh yeah, European opposition, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know,
especially as an opper.
Yeah, and especially because he can be and has been fast when he goes for picks like that. But something about that transition has been difficult for him. And, you know, that is more, I guess, easily expressed when you're on the T side, or actually no, rather, sorry, when you're on the CT side, where you've got these many different openers that you can go for, where players might be just going automatic with their utility. It can be quite simple to catch out someone with a grenade, or just maybe not expecting an AWP around the corner, or expecting a rifle instead. It seems we have a bit of a tech issue at the moment, and it will slow the progress of this best of one, but today has actually been quite a
fortuitous.
Yes. I would
day
say
ones we generally, you know, expecting, well, you know,
iron out a crease or two.
There's always a little bit of something, but right now the only creases we see are in gameplay, which to be fair might be the worst kind.
Yeah, I've had we were fighting to see who got the most round as a losing team in the opening games. Here in the winners match, it is as close as can be. FlyQuest, of course, not coming in with a lot. Just what little they saved in that prior round. And they're grouped up heavy, but there's even team kills thrown in the mix. They're just so heavily clustered. They fall right into the clutches of a sAw that were ready to greet them with open arms.
I just hope you can laugh it off. I know it, because it is insignificant, right? It really doesn't matter. Sure, the minus $300, whatever, who cares? You laughed it off. This might end up being the exact kind of morale turnaround round that you sort of want. Especially if Dexter ends up getting a kill or two. No, it's okay.
Yeah, it's not like these players were the healthiest, so that USB could have still been some threat to sAw. I think they're happy that they had all their guns at the ready to meet this contact play.
And look, at the end of the day, no matter what we might have said about FlyQuest, their firepower, no matter how much I might have appreciated the Mustachio men's performances in that first map, sAw is a giant by comparison.
Yeah.
Right? sAw has been a staple of Europe, no matter what lineup it is, no matter who it is. It's always Muris and Roman corralling together a couple of youngsters and making it work. And right now, they've found the right mix. U-Jerks, though, has been eliminated from that mix. Can they still bake a cake without one of your main eggs?
Yeah, aggressive B-side utility there from FlyQuest. They take deep control already, and so now with that opener, they're going to be comfortable in leaving Dexter and looking for more. You know, sAw are very infrequently just going to abandon U-Jerks, but now that he's gone, the reaction is through brackets, and FlyQuest do have the right read on this.
Molotov should be flushing out Liaz. He's already used all of his utility, so it's down to Story, who's found Vex site still delayed by an incendiary that's not going to last much longer. So have plenty of time to make a move, and Arasdosh has moved on to Liaz's face. Inns, however, is now back into it. Farmers ducks back into Cole, but he's only good for the double. A 2-on-2, a retake to be taken, and Alistair in position to look for that first shot. Story, though, playing up top, might not be expecting the flank to be this soon. He will not be dropping down. That would be a surefire giveaway, but now needs a no-scope. No, it's just quick, but man, he is so fast. Dexter, left alone. HP not on his side, has got offensive utility, but he dare not deploy it. An impossible crossfire to move past, but he spots out the elbow. He gets the first. A molly deployed. A grenade to the feet. Muir should be low, but he still needs to get it done. Dexter has it, and onto the bomb he goes.
And it's the in-game leaders that have to duke it out for this fight, for this round. I mean, fantastic work there from Dexter, taking that elevation, getting an angle advantage over Story, and then just perfect set of util. You know, he's eliminating all these close angles and funneling Muteris into a position where the pre-aim is perfect from Dexter.
And Story wasn't expecting him to already be that close to the cart, which is why he's got that elbow exposed with it. Dexter just happens to be faster. Maybe Story just read in that, hey, Alistair's up top. If Dexter was going to be there, he's heard me drop down. He'd want to trade me, anything like that. Dexter stays patient. He takes his time in the 1v2, and it really does pay off. That's an excellent round to be finding. Even if your economy is not going to be doing too great after that one, you at least give yourself some breathing room to try and get back into the game.
I mean, had he not made his way up short as quickly as that, you know, there's kind of no chance that Dexter could have been in that position. So yeah, I mean, right on the money. And they are going to be pretty saddened about how that round ended up developing. You know, Inns getting that double in the bomb side, of course, gives the round some legs there on the side of FlyQuest. But still, a 2-on-1 where they've got pit control and a Story that's caught out this crazy flank timing. Even when he puts himself in a compromised position, Story can be so very good at bailing himself out.
Not that time.
Yeah, clearly not. And listen, this was always why Dexter reuniting with the Aussies was always going to be a threat. You know, people always talked about him as being the fragging in-game leader. And, you know, he had glimpses when he was in Europe as well. He still had maps where he would actually do quite a lot when we compare other in-game leaders within the region. But then the re-emergence into Australia, I mean, he does find his kills, but you want a level of veterancy alongside it as well. You can't go across the pond and bring only the strategies or mindset that can be tough to implement when you're the only one trying to push for that.
Gotta show them hands.
Yeah.
And he's got them. Probably real vascular as well. It looks like he hits a gym. I appreciate that. I struggle with that. I'll be honest, mate. I try really hard, but then it's like, oh, well, you've got an event on this time zone. Like, well, I guess I can't gym anymore. But yes, you can. What
Yeah,
do you
I
mean?
mean, there's always time to be healthy.
Yes, and right now, Dexter on the server is showing us just that.
Yeah, esports professionals have been very good at increasing the level of activity because I think we're seeing quite a few players that hit the gym do quite well when we get to events. Something about releasing endorphins or something. I don't really get it.
No endorphins like the ones you release when you win, though. Nothing quite like it, and both of these teams are really, really wanting those endorphins right now. Things are tight, and I don't just mean in the rounds, I also mean in FlyQuest's money. A Farmer's an MP9 out, but at least Alistair's op was saved from the previous round. Dexter's been able to give that one over. He needs to make it work now, though.
I think there might have even been a discussion, you know, whether or not sAw start to target players. We highlighted Liaz as this player that has struggled to find kills so far in this map, and it's not because of the difficulties he's had on CT side just yet, but there can be conversations when you are in a rut. How do you get yourself out of it? Do sAw look to capitalize on maybe an underperforming Liaz?
You've got a full build of utility on Vexite on the B-bomb side, so he's not going to be the one to rotate. Alistair's pretty committed. You're not going to get rotations here. These three players on the A-bomb site need to be the ones finding a kill. And they're not going to be aggressive. They don't have the utility to try and go for it, but the time is running down low. sAw is hoping for that aggression, but FlyQuest have shown that they are patient in the clock, if nothing else.
Dexter hasn't really cleared spawn either, so it's going to really sow a lot of doubt into those B players, and there might be just a weird timing. Yeah, Dexter goes back to look spawn, but it's only now that Muterus has permeated into the arches. sAw sitting short, and it's a great splash from Vexite. Liaz still atop this box. It's Inz has taken all attention, and so they will be none the wiser to his elevated angle. Muterus too late to activate in from those arches. One already skirted on by. And FlyQuest will shut down what was chalked up to be a very late finish by the Portuguese.
And that's the advantage of being so confident in your late round play, in your individuals, because you just see Alistair's holding on to the B-bomb side. Sure, he might miss a shot, whatever it might be. The one thing you can never criticize this team for is not having trust in their teammates. They have full faith in that. Sure, Dexter misses a timing maybe, but that's where that flashbang helps out. Inz is doing so well, holds on late round. sAw's already used most of the utility. They don't have the flashes to scale onto the bomb side either, and now you're suddenly 9-9. You're the ones who are strapped for cash. You're the ones who are tight on funds. But Utrix has done some of his best work in those situations. AWP revealed, but do they know it's a secondary? Dexter, the one who has his hands on it. Alistair yet to show his own off.
Yeah, a bit of a feign, but it's not as though Alistair has taken any significant space with his AWP, starting to progress up through short, and with Rosdosh sitting around those angles, you know, kind of akin to what was happening on the side of sAw with how aggressive Story was being. Alistair has denied a lot of space. This re-aggro into Banana is great, though. Ujerks, he's ahead of the Molotov, but he eats the flash, and Dexter will happily take that one. It's Vexite that's lingering, though. They're continuing to swing, but it's the double trade right back from sAw. Very quick rotation out from Inz, and he finds a perfect timing. Story did not have his gun prepared, they're sitting on low health, and a Rosdosh needs to relink somehow, but he's caught Alistair while in transition. But the bomb at the feet of Inz now.
And Inz is going to keep on peeking. He's going to keep on asserting himself. 3 kills for the round, but really it's Dexter and Vexite who felt like they won it for FlyQuest. Beautiful trading coming through there. Dexter getting the first, but then Vexite continuing to fight again and again. Sure, it's a 2-for-2, but Inz is so fast on that rotate. And where you said maybe the CT side play is the question, so far it has really been looking A-okay. You can tell FlyQuest, one of the advantages of having so much time between events for them is the fact that you get a lot more time to rehearse, to study, to readjust. And considering from all of their comments over the past few months, they knew they had to, and looks like it might be working.
Yeah, I gotta say that second kill from Vexite was disgusting as well. You know, the round was not exactly comfortable for either team. The timings were weird, but sAw now with Tech 9's trying to just scale quickly. It's Alistair with the AWP, and they don't have support from Long as well. They can get wrapped, but it's all on timings. It's distance with that Tech 9. Muter is struggling to kill Alistair, but they have lost control of this A bomb site. 3-on-3, they're still ahead of these smokes, still fighting in from brackets. Arostos running straight through it. They have not prioritized getting that bomb down. These rotates are here. They blow the smoke right open. These awkward-looking rounds from FlyQuest, they have dispelled another.
And as much as you might be haunted by the specter of the half-buy you lost to, this is the one that matters. They're not able to get the bomb prime, they're not able to get that extra money, and you're able to recover the AWP. 2 players alive is never enough, but you know what? If one of them is the AWP, it really does make it a little bit more stomachable. And also for sAw, you have to keep this in mind. There is going to be a point where they start to scratch their heads maybe a little bit more. They start to think, man, it's a BO1. Damn it. We know we've been upset before. We lost in Cilio a couple of months ago. What's going on over here? Is this happening all over?
Yeah, even, you know, coming away from their win on Nuke, you know, not satisfied, knowing that they've struggled on that map in separate instances as well. A complacent team, perhaps.
And that is something they just cannot afford to be. And they know it. Running out of flashes are sAw, and there's 1:20 on the clock. Watch out for these dry peaks, and Roman is trying to go in for them. Traded out too quickly. Liaz makes short work of it, deploys his smoke early on. The CTs are looking to reinforce. Vexlight will be starting to rotate over, but maybe sAw has read into it.
How often do you look to Roman as that guy that goes in for entries? You know, reading the nameplates is as important. FlyQuest are continuing to regress, and with the information that they gather, it is not as though they are flying blind. They do have some presence over towards this B-bomb site of timely smoke, a Molotov down 2, but Alistair, he's continuing to probe. Oh, he doesn't round that corner. Arostos is waiting so patiently for that time to strike, but sAw are caught behind Util, and now Arostos finding that AWP. He's just trying to find a path back for sAw into this round.
There still isn't a call, but there's Alistair moving back into it. That re-aggression was crucial. sAw can no longer make noise, and with 20 seconds left, that means that the FlyQuest has such a massive advantage. Alistair's even trying to bait out for Liaz. Now they decide to settle for a crossfire instead. All pressure coming in from short. Alistair watches out, and he gets the first. Liaz ducks out, gets himself the second. And now in the one-on-one in the bomb site, Muterus has a chance to do what Roman could not, but he doesn't have the HP to do it with just enough time to plant the bomb. Dexter and Vexlight in hot pursuit, and Muterus' feet are on the fire.
They know he has to be trapped inside of this site. They got there to short so quickly. The AWP, and then the immediate switch back to that AK. He's trying to bait out like they have to go for a double swing in some capacity, but even with the backwards position in the site, it's not as though Vexlight is going to be at a disadvantage on the duel. A 12th round here for FlyQuest, and where sAw may be caught in the mind of 2 years ago, these cores fought against each other and we demolished them. Arostos, fantastic work all throughout. It's not like the Australians could hold a candle to them. But this FlyQuest team is far different in their temperament, in their control, and in their trust in their setups. Right now, the CT side is all about setups. And they are doing a fantastic job at converting. Even when we're talking about liabilities on the server, when we're talking about the underperformance of Liaz, he is getting his kills when it comes to the defense of this A-bomb site.
And Alistair as well, he might have only gotten 2 kills on the CT side. They might have been some of the most important. Dexter now trades 1 for 1. The Flames will do what the bullets could not. But little do they know, Vexlight is right behind. He's right behind the smoke, and he wants to get ahead of it. More damage through it. Vexlight lives. But for how long?
It's awkward here for FlyQuest even as well. It's not like they have good positions inside the apartments or anything from short. You know, for them, they're trying to feign and bluff and puff their chest out that there is a secondary player outside of the one that's already fallen. The great boost, though, implemented by FlyQuest just around that smoke. Roman just trying to get some extra space so that they can burst B. But it comes down to 3 here for the Portuguese. FlyQuest could already be looking to cause what is our first upset here in ESL Challenger Atlanta.
Still one more round to get past, and it'll be tough. Inns trades out 1, but he needs more. His company will be so far in assisting him, and he just can't find it. A full 2-on-2, a smoke for CT ready. This is not going to be easy. sAw planting, Smoke's also slightly delayed, so you've got extra time on it, and it's deep, so the grenade doesn't pop it open either. It's Alistair to take charge, and he has done so. Muta is down, and Arizdosh leading the server, only behind Dexter, but he needs to do a little bit more. 2 kills to just keep themselves alive. Arizdosh has asked for good angle to be holding down. Alistair will not be getting aggressive. That's what he's banking on. A flash forward. Alistair's position revealed. He needs to go for the trade. Running out of bullets. Alistair with the AK will take it. And FlyQuest on 13 will take down sAw.
And it is with an open fist that FlyQuest answer back against the Portuguese. They find their way all the way through Group A, and they get to enjoy a beautiful day in Atlanta as well, all to boot. The Australians are back, and sAw are really saddened by it.
And they don't know what hit them right there. Alistair and company just coming through so